What's up? I'm back. Let's go right into this. It's we go through 9 weeks, so we have 8 games left. The Giants humiliated themselves yesterday. Embarrassed themselves to a team that most of the league embarrasses week by week. We lost to a scrub. We didn't lose to a scrub. We got humiliated. We got blown out. You know what? By halftime, for me, it was old already. So I walked out. I didn't even give the second half attention. How do you like that? Something I've never done before. What's the point? Yo. Daniel Jones torn ACL, man. Regardless if you were a Jones man or if you're not a Jones fan, you're a Giants fan. You can't root to see a guy get hurt like that. That's gotta hurt you. That's not the way a guy who busts his ass and works so hard deserves to go out. So to Daniel Jones, get better. You'll probably be here next year. But the Giants have 8 weeks left. And the only thing as a fan base that we have to watch during these 8 games is to sit on the edge of your couch and pray that the Giants don't find a way to win a game. And that's disgusting. We've been here before 2 years ago. We're back here again. So these are familiar territories for an organization and a franchise that historically is not familiar to this at all. But the last 7 or 8 years have been garbage. And right now we're sitting on a mountain of garbage. You argue this might be the worst season in Giants history. I think as we go on this year, it's going to come down to that. Honestly, it's going to be extremely hard for me to sit down and watch these games for the next 8 weeks, knowing that I have to root for the Giants to lose. You know how hard it is as a fan to not get up for a game emotionally, not prepare hours before the game. We each have our rituals, whether it's you go to the gym or you eat a certain meal or whatever it is that you get geared up for 4 to 5 hours before the game, because that's what the diehard fan does. You get your chair, the right pillow, you got to sit in the right spot, you need your TV on, your laptop on the side, maybe you have a secondary game going on, certain type of shirt or hoodie, whatever it is, the jersey you feel in your stupid brain or heart that's going to help the Giants win that Sunday. You're going to put that jersey on, right? All these little things we do as fans, because this is part of being a diehard fan. A fan, right? That's short for fanatic. And that's what we are. A bunch of fanatics. And you know how hard it is for a fanatic to not be able to get excited, not emotionally get fired up for a big game, because there is no big game. The Giants have 8 games left. And as an entire fan base, I don't care who you are at this point right now. I don't care who you are. Young school, old school, diehard Jones fan, can't wait to get rid of Jones. It doesn't matter. The entire fan base will be one now. We haven't in the last few years, as there's been 2 sides, the Jones side, the time to move on from Jones side. Hey, guess what? It doesn't matter anymore. The decision has been made for us, unfortunately. They've gotten the guy beat up. This garbage trash can O-line that we've been trying to fix unsuccessfully for the last decade has now lost you Daniel Jones, Taylor, and well, this poor guy, DeVito. And let me tell you something. I hope he stays healthy the rest of the way. I want this guy, DeVito, to take every snap the rest of the year so he can guarantee that we don't win a football game. Because once again, we're going to get a look at the Giants without Daniel Jones. We've all seen what it is. Even when you hate him, you can't ignore how disgusting it is. Not that we were successful this year with him on the field either. The O-line, it's not that the Giants haven't tried for a decade. They just haven't been successful and haven't done enough. Look, man. We got to lose every single game. And the one game I'm worried about the most in 3 weeks is versus the Patriots, who also want to lose every single game. They managed to play tighter games. But believe me, at the end of the game, the Patriots are doing things to lose it. And that worries me because that's going to be the difference. The Patriots and the Giants game is going to be an interesting game since both teams are going to do every damn thing in their power to lose the game. I just hope that we can lose games and not fuck that up also. Because Belichick is the type that wants the quarterbacks that the Giants usually want. They usually think alike. And it's early. I'm studying these QBs. I'm a big quarterback guy. Everyone knows I played quarterback for years, and I'm very big into these quarterbacks. I told you which quarterbacks I didn't like in the past, and I've been dead right on all of them. I did like Daniel Jones, but I think the Giants did everything they can to fuck this guy up. And not only that, they also fucking tore up his knee. So you could hate Jones and say he wasn't the guy, he's not a superstar. No, he wasn't a superstar, but he was a good enough franchise quarterback that would have won you something if you would have had a real good team around him. Yes, he needs the perfect offense around him, including the O-line. Never had it. Number one receiver, never had it. And he's not the guy that's going to raise the offense and put it on his shoulders and make average players play really good. He's the type of guy that needs the right offense around him. And you could say what you want. Eli Manning may have had an act for the late game heroics. He had the perfect offense around him. He had the best O-line in football, a monster receiver at Plaxico, Amani Toomer. Then he had Hakeem Nicks and Cruz later on, Manningham. He had a top O-line and two physical animals in the backfield that not only pounded the rock, Jacobs, Bradshaw, and for a little while Ward, but boy, they know how to knock linebackers on their ass and protect Eli. Jones hasn't had none of that. Nothing. He has a Barkley. Not much else. And don't bring up Waller to me, because to me, Waller this year is a complete and utter bust. Injuries. What else is new with the Giants? One of the biggest words thrown around our organization for the last 10 years. Injuries. 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 Look, man. It's early. I've checked out some of the quarterbacks I've been watching. I'm doing some studying. I need the rest of the year to give a real fair evaluation. But right now, standing at the top to me is Drake May. That guy's the franchise. That's a franchise quarterback all around, a leader. He's got a dead accurate arm. He's got a feel, a presence in the pocket, and he knows how to get out of the pocket. And the biggest thing to me, he's a guy who's going to be able to handle the pressure and the media of New York City, and a lot of quarterbacks can't. You got to have that personality about you. And you can't be insecure and allow the bullshit talk on social media and in the newspapers and on the radio, and it's all over the Northeast. You can't allow that to get to you. You got to be someone who that shit doesn't affect you. It doesn't shake or faze you at all. Daniel Jones had that. Obviously, he was missing some other things. Eli Manning had that big time. Phil Simms, way back. Even Kerry Collins, who went through adversity earlier in his career and it made him stronger and came to New York, had that tough skin, that tough character. he was able to handle the pressure of New York City and the metropolitan area, and you won't find a pressure like that anywhere else in the country. And Drake May has it, and I love what I see about this kid. Another guy I like a lot is Bo Nix out of Oregon. He's a very physical presence. He's strong-minded. He's like really tough. Doesn't mind taking hits, and he's got a bomb for an arm. And an arm is important when you come to the Meadowlands Giants Stadium, because it's one of the windiest places in the country, and it gets damn right cold come late November, December, January. Those winds are howling, and you gotta have a strong arm. It may not be the same swirling winds we had back in the old Meadowlands, but it's still a windy, open swamp area. You gotta have an arm to play in that stadium. Bo Nix fits that bill. Now, I know he's got to prove a little more, but I like him a lot. I know the country's in love with Khalib. Khalib's a talent. He's special. He's got athletic ability. Love his accuracy. He lacks a little in the arm, especially for the area that we just spoke about. And the one thing that scares me about Khalib, and I could be wrong, but just from judging, he's very emotional. And sometimes emotion and passion is a good thing. I love that in a player, but you probably want that more in your receivers and your linebackers, your defensive ends, your offensive linemen. I don't know if you want to be overboard with the emotion with a quarterback, because he's got to keep an even balance. The team looks to him like Eli used to be. He was his calmest when things were most chaotic, and you want a guy like that, especially, again, in the New York City metropolitan area. Brothers, the thing about Khalib that scares me is I don't know if he has the personality to handle New York, because you're coming into a real bad team, but a very hungry and very unsatisfied, angry fan base. And the media loves this shit. They can't wait to pick on you. They're always going to stir the pot. Can Khalib Williams come across to the East Coast, New York area and handle that? Can he shut everything out and not allow it to affect him? Because so far what I've seen this year, that he's had a little bit of a rough year with the losing with USC. I don't blame him. But his emotions has shown on several occasions that he's not handling that well. Well, how are you going to handle New York, where the offensive line has not been set up yet? It's still being worked on. The team is broken, and the fan base does not have any more patience at all. Is a guy like him going to be able to come in to the most pressured area in the country, which right now happens to be the angriest and most unwilling to wait anymore? There is no more patience left in this area between the Jets or the Giant fans. Take the weight of the world, put it on your shoulders. Is Khalib Williams emotionally, his personality, going to be able to handle that? I'm not saying he can't, but if you look at the signs that what we've seen this season, it's concerning, to say the least. And that worries me about him. Also, in the NFL, there aren't too many Mahomes and Hurts. And both those guys have offensive lines. And the Giants right now, let's just try to be nice about it and say they're still building one. You can't do 360s, duck under linebackers, jump over people, and still throw a ball. That shit's not going to work in the NFL, and it's definitely not going to work in the NFC East when you got the Cowboys and Eagles defenses. That shit never worked in the NFC East. You're going to have to learn to be a straight pocket passer who once in a while, when things breaks down, is going to be able to scramble and take off for 10 yards. Okay? That option offense, when we get our next quarterback, that shit is gone. Because I'm sorry, look what it's done to this quarterback. We have broken and destroyed this guy's body with that crap. You've ran Jones into the ground, literally. Actually, you've ran him right into the surgery room. The ground would be an upgrade. So, although Khalib is the next hot thing on the planet, and I don't want to compare him to the past hot things that have been built up by the media and fan bases, you know? Some of the names, Haskins, Willis, you know, guys that the Giants must draft. Right? Even Malik, even the kid in the Colts. Listen, man, a great athlete in college. These guys are great college athletes, college quarterbacks that cannot transfer to the NFL level football game. Because the NFL is not an Xbox game. College, there's a lot of playground football going on. You got to leave that at the doorstep when you make it to the NFL. It's about following a system, staying behind your blockers, and playing within your offense's football game plan. There's 360s, and I'm going to throw sideways, and I'm going to hop over people, and I'm going to run wherever I please like it's nothing. It don't work in the NFL. It's very rare, okay? Very rare. The Michael Vicks of the world, they don't exist often. Mahomes, he does all these little things, but guess what? When it comes down to it, he still plays football Kansas City style. And if you try to do way too much in the NFL, most likely you're going to end up injured. And the O-line, obviously, is the biggest key of all. And for some reason, a lot of teams in this league are having a hard time building an O-line. I think these O-line players are not being developed in college, so they get into the NFL, and you got to kind of develop them from the beginning. And that's why it takes a few years. And that's why I'm not ready to give up on Evan Neal. And if it's not working at tackle, you move him into guard. But I'm not ready to just dispose of him. Like I said before, when one link is broken, the entire chain breaks apart. And the Giants got to put this chain together, this O-line we've been working on for years. Keep pounding it. There's going to be a deep O-line draft this year. I'm not saying we're getting one in the first because obviously we're headed for a quarterback. But you'll have two second-round picks, a third round. Hey, you're going to have to pick up 2 more O-linemen in the draft. And really, honestly, it's time to go out in free agency, spend money on a veteran O-line. Someone that at least is almost of Pro Bowl caliber. That would be money worth it. Go get a real veteran hog. Then draft another one. We're gonna need a tackle. We're gonna need a guard. And I would move Evan Neal inside. And I would definitely bring Justin Pugh back. Because as we've seen, we need as many pieces as possible. Because our O-linemen don't stay healthy very long. I was a big Daniel Jones guy. I liked what I saw in his body. I liked his work ethic. He was an athlete. I figured we'd build an O-line and we'd get back to being Giants football like it was around Eli. It didn't happen. It's over. I'm off the ship. I'm not one of these guys who's loyal to the death of me. I'm loyal to seeing the Giants win again. I'm sick of this shit. I don't want to watch it no more. I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch these games the rest of the year, knowing that at the end of the game, we got to have an L. It's so sad. It's so messed up. But we have to have an L at the end of every one of these games. We have to get the highest pick possible. There's 5, 6 QBs. But to me, there's about 3 at the top. And we got to have one of them. And to me, right now, early estimate, a mid-estimate, May's the best all-around quarterback in the draft. And I know there are teams that are already all over him. And I know Joe Shane has already been scouting them. He was also at the USC-Washington game the other night. The kid from Washington, I'm not too crazy about. Because I'll tell you why. He reminds me a lot of Russell back in the day for the Raiders. And that scares me. I don't like his body type. I don't think he fits the type of quarterback like a franchise QB. I could be wrong, but there's something about him that to me is missing. Once again, nice big college quarterback that to me, I'm scared won't translate to the NFL. Drake May is nasty. To me, he's a franchise QB. Bo Nix has an opportunity to be a very physical, strong quarterback, a la a poor man Brett Favre. Another Herbert type out of Oregon. All right? Obviously, Khalid Williams is extremely talented, and I got to put him up there. My only concern is the personality not fitting the New York City metropolitan area, and believe me, you hear that a lot, it's true. The New York, New Jersey metro area is different than the rest of the country. You got to be a different type of guy. You have to be a dog above all other dogs to survive in New York City. Because the media, they're nasty pack of rats. They're going to try to rip you down as soon as they get that opportunity, man. So I understand his emotions are because he wants to win badly, and I like that. He wants to be a winner, and losing hurts. But seeing him between his head between his knees 2-3 weeks ago for like 35 minutes after the game, holding his head down, staring at the floor. Part of me likes that he went into the stands, showed some crying and emotion with his mother because he was disappointed in another loss or the season. But part of me knows that you cannot bring that shit to New York because it's not going to go. You're going to get torn apart for all the wrong reasons. It just is. That's reality. And the kid from Michigan, I admit I got to do more about him. I got to look more into him and see what the kid from Michigan is. Those are your 4 quarterbacks in this draft right now that stand out. But the one guy I can promise you that I think is going to be the real deal. And a lot of times it depends where these guys get matched up into what organization. Some organizations just never know how to build the right way. Maybe the Giants have seemed that way the last few years, but we all know historically the Giants always get back to the top of the mountain. And they will again. A young, new, fresh-blooded quarterback can light a fire under an organization real fast. And that the time has come. Now, Daniel Jones might be back next year. I don't know if he's going to be ready to start the season. We're drafting a kid, and Daniel Jones could be a huge asset in a kid's growth. He could show him everything, how to deal with the New York, the ins and outs, the hard work, study some video. He's a gym rat. Maybe you get a little gym rat into the guy. There's a lot he could show a young kid. So he's under contract, and I'm thinking he's coming back next year. But you're going to have a kid here. One of these young quarterbacks is coming in, and you're hoping that it's going to turn the entire franchise around. And many times, a young quarterback could do that. We're far off. We have 8 games left, and like I said, get ready for a long, ugly 8-week. Side note, I'm not angry at Dabble. I wish he'd clean up the faces on the sideline. It's not necessary. You see where the season's going. I'm not a believer that the Giants have done all this sabotaging to tank the season. It's a very hard thing to do, especially under John Mara. That guy would never allow that shit. You're in the wrong neck of the woods if you think you're going to get away with tanking like that. But now that we've gotten to this point where we're 2-7 and the season's gone and we don't even have a quarterback, it's better that we lose every single game left for our future. We got to somehow get a top 2 or 3 pick in this draft. We cannot end up like 8, 9, or 10, so 2 or 3 more wins ain't going to do shit for us. I understand the players play to win, so this is what I do. Maybe start putting some of them on the bench. You should have traded Adoree at the deadline. The Niners wanted him. That was a mistake. I would have traded Barkley, but I love the guy, and I completely understand why Mara and the organization want to keep him around. So I'm thinking you're probably giving him a 2-year contract with a 3rd option. Andrew Thomas is not healthy. There is no reason to play him the rest of this year. Put him back on the bench. Start checking out Evan Neal at guard so we know what we have in him for next year. All right? Waller should be done for the year. Let the kids play in the secondary. And at the end of the year, I say goodbye to Xavier McKinney. I don't care if you like him or not. That guy's dogged it this year. And I'm not talking being a dog. He just dogged it. That guy quit on the season long ago. He's worried about not getting injured because of what he did to his hand last year. And he knows he's got a contract year coming up. And he ain't getting it from the Giants. So he's decided to quit playing football and just run around and get some cardio. The man don't make a tackle. He doesn't even attempt to two-hand touch anyone anymore. He quit on the season a long time ago. He's worried about the money coming next year. The way he played this year, he's not going to get the money he was imagining. And he definitely shouldn't get paid by the Giants. I'd say goodbye to that guy. And I would have traded him before the trade deadline. How you like that? Because I ain't got no room on my team for guys that aren't going to play football and be little bitches. There's 8 games left. And we can't win any of them. And I don't know how you can sit down and watch that style of football. It's ugly. It is what it is. That's my feelings. Enjoy the rest of the season. I don't know how much of it I'm going to be able to watch. I miss.